Hi, and welcome to Reading with Ms. Momo. I'm so glad you could join us today. Today, we're going to read a book about a tiny little seed, and we're going to see what all happens to this tiny little seed and the adventure that it takes. It's going to be a fun adventure, so sit back and get ready to listen and enjoy the story. The Tiny Seed by Eric Carle. Eric Carle is one of my favorite authors. I love his illustrations and I love his books. It is autumn. A strong wind is blowing. It blows flower seeds high in the air and carries them far across the land. One of the seeds is a tiny, smaller than any of the others. Will it be able to keep up with the others? And where are they all going? Look at the seeds flying, and there's one tiny little seed. Wonder what's going to happen to that tiny little seed. One of the seeds flies higher than the others. Up it goes. It flies too high, and the sun's hot rays burn it up. But the tiny seed sails on with the others. And there it goes, sailing on with the others, and that one burned up because it went too high. Another seed lands on a tall and icy mountain. The ice never melts, and the seed cannot grow. The rest of the seeds fly on, but this tiny seed does not go as fast as the others. There's the tiny seed. It's not going as fast as the others. Now they fly over the ocean. One seed falls into the water and drowns. The others sail on with the wind. But the tiny seed does not go as high as the others. There's the tiny seed. One seed drifts down onto the desert. It is hot and dry, and the seed cannot grow. Now the tiny seed is flying very low, but the wind pushes it on with the others. And there's the tiny seed going over the desert. Finally, the wind stops, and the seeds fall gently down on the ground. A bird comes by and eats one seed. The tiny seed is not eaten. It is so small that the bird does not see it. There's the tiny seed, and the bird didn't see it. Now it is winter. After their long trip, the seeds settle down. They look just as if they were going to sleep on the earth. Snow falls and covers them like a soft white blanket. A hungry mouse that also lives in the ground eats a seed for his lunch, but the tiny seed lies very still, and the mouse does not see it. Now it is spring. After a few months, the snow is melted. It is really spring. Birds fly by, the sun shines, rain falls, the seeds grow so round and full they start to burst open a little. Now they are not seeds anymore. They are plants. First they send roots down into the earth. Then their little stems and leaves begin to grow up toward the sun and air. There is another plant that grows much faster than the new little plants. It is a big, fat weed, and it just takes all the sunlight and the rain away from the one small new plant. And that little plant dies, and the tiny seed hasn't begun to grow yet. It will be too late. Hurry, but finally, it too starts to grow into a plant. It's starting to grow into a plant. They're starting to grow. They're their roots, and they're starting to grow. The warm weather brings the children out to play. They've been waiting for the sun in springtime. One child doesn't see the plants, and he runs along. Oh, he breaks one. Now it cannot grow anymore. He broke the plant. He stepped on it by accident. The tiny plant that grew from the tiny seed is growing fast, but its neighbor grows even faster. Before the tiny plant has 3 leaves, the other plant has several. And look, a bud, and now even a flower. But what is happening? First there are footsteps, then a shadow looms over them, Then a hand reaches down and breaks off the flower. A boy picked the flower to give to a friend. In summer, it's now the tiny plant from the tiny seed is all alone. It grows on and on. It doesn't stop. The sun shines on it and the rain waters it. It has many leaves. It grows taller and taller. It is taller than the people. It is taller than the trees. It's taller than the houses. And now a flower grows on it. People come from far and near to look at this flower. It is the tallest flower they have ever seen. It is a giant flower. And look, here are all the people looking at this giant flower that came from the tiniest little seed. All summer long, the birds and the bees and the butterflies come visiting. They have never seen such a big and beautiful flower. And they're all coming and getting nectar and resting on it. Now it is autumn again. The days grow shorter. The nights grow cooler. The winds carry yellow and red leaves past the flower. Some petals drop from the giant flower and they sail along with the bright leaves over the land and down to the ground. And there are the petals going with the leaves. The winds blow harder. The flower has lost almost all of its petals. It sways and bends away from the wind, but the wind grows stronger and shakes the flower. Once more, the wind shakes the flower, and this time the flower's seed pods open. Out come many seeds that quickly sail far away into the wind. There go all the seeds popping out and going into the wind. And so the whole cycle will begin again. And the seed will go into the ground, and then it'll start the whole process over. You know, the Bible tells us several things about seeds. It talks about there's some seeds and some get planted in hard ground, some get planted in rocky ground, some get planted in cracks. And we have learned lots of lessons from that about where we're planted. We need to bloom where we're planted. Also, it tells us about the faith of a tiny mustard seed, and that if you have just that much faith, then you can move mountains. God will move mountains if you have that much faith in Him. We've learned lots of things about seeds. We learned the life cycle of a flower in this book. We learned about the parts of a flower in this book, about the seasons and about the sequences of flower growing. We learned that you can survive no matter what the obstacles are. This book taught us a lot of lessons, didn't it? And it taught us that not always the biggest, the highest flying, the fastest one is the best. Sometimes just the tiny one is just the best. And it grew to be the biggest flower and shone the brightest. You know, just be yourself. You don't have to be like everybody else. You can be different. It's okay to be different. And this sunflower grew from a tiny little seed, and it was different. You know, you can be the sunflower in a whole bed of red roses and be a little different, and it's okay. I want you to know that. I want you to know that God makes us all, no matter who we are, no matter how tall we are, short we are, fast we are, or how we can jump. We're all special. I want you to plant some seeds. Maybe plant some in some clear cups so that you can watch and see how the roots go. And plant some in a garden. And then when they grow, ask your parents for permission first. But you may cut them or pick them and share them with a friend like this boy did in this book. Flowers are beautiful and their colors are gorgeous, and God made them all, just like God made you. Until we meet again, smile and be happy. Bloom where you're planted. Enjoy the flowers. Stop and smell the roses. God bless.